to be expected. People are going to test positive for this in these athletic programs.
First off, kudos to EKU for releasing the information that they did. I think it's good to be upfront and just say what's going on and to keep it out there. Secondly, I'm starting to worry now that we're going to have games that are going to be canceled because maybe one team can't show up and, they don't know what the COVID outbreak's going to do once we get into a season. So it's starting to worry me a little bit when you get Kansas State, LSU, some programs that are shutting things down for a while. What's going to happen when they actually start playing?
We've really gone on this roller coaster of emotions, you and I, as far as being pessimistic and optimistic about football season and fall sports. I'm starting to get a little more pessimistic now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I'm still holding out hope. All right, in other news, police in Louisville are taking more criticism, this time for arresting people who live streamed during racial protests. After several streamers were arrested this week, the group of independent journalists say they think police are targeting them. They cite confusion about the rules of engagement. One streamer was live on Facebook when they were arrested for trespassing as they stood next to a local TV news reporter who was not arrested. And another streamer says he was arrested on a misdemeanor charge, while another one who was doing the same thing faces a felony rioting charge. The situation has drawn the attention of the Kentucky ACLU, who says, quote, the government doesn't get to decide who is a journalist and who isn't a journalist, end quote. Another law expert notes the First Amendment protects everyone, even if they're streaming while also being involved in a protest. And Keith, I don't believe that these people are being arrested simply because they are streaming, right? I think it's, following the rules of the park is closing at 11 p.m. Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless, the TV station was also in the park and just so happened to be broadcasting, but it's not like we're wearing uniforms. I mean, sometimes we do have our letters and everything on there, or numbers, but I mean, I would imagine it is kind of difficult. And we did see some problems very early on in this where, remember the pepper ball sprays or whatever those little balls were being shot at the wave reporters. So we have seen where it's been confusion on both sides.
Absolutely. Now let's turn to sports again, beginning with some UK football headlines. We've been talking about Terry Wilson's updates on his offseason rehab this week. The formerly injured QB sent out an encouraging tweet over this weekend, and Wednesday he followed it up with video of him running full speed in workouts. That was great to see. Meanwhile, 3 Wildcats were named to a preseason All-SEC first team this week. They are center Drake Jackson, offensive tackle Darian Kennard, and punter Max Duffy. Of course, he was the punter of the year last year. And former UK star Lynn Bowden is already working out with some of his new NFL teammates. Training camps don't begin until the end of the month, but Bowden is out in Vegas getting an early jump on establishing a working relationship with his new quarterback, Derek Carr. Keith, all of this is great news. I'm not surprised to see Lynn Bowden already out there getting work in.
You know that he wants to make a big statement and he wants to live up to the hype of him getting drafted and everything. So for John Gruden really wanted him. So, he wants to make him proud as well. And so it's great to see him already putting in the work out there. And then as far as Terry Wilson goes, it's great to see him running forward. But what I'm really looking forward to is seeing him make some of these cuts and moves that he may have to make, which obviously he's going to be wearing a brace for. But still, that will be a little different than just running full speed ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we've got some basketball news to talk about, too, for the UK team. Not only is the 2020 team back on campus, they're also back in the gym. Yesterday, freshman guard BJ Boston posted a short clip on his Instagram underneath one of UK's championship banners in the Joe Kraft Center. Boston is one of 9 scholarship players to have moved into their dorms over the weekend. Meanwhile, Coach Cal made a significant move on the recruiting trail last night. 2022 5-star prospect Sky Clark received a scholarship offer, making him the first guard in the rising junior class to earn an offer from UK. And there's some, disappointing news for Kentucky fans for 2020. Big man Makur Maker has chosen Howard University over Kentucky, UCLA, and Memphis. But Keith, I actually am really excited for him because he chose Howard as an HBCU, and he wants there to be a trend of other really good players to go to historically black colleges and universities.
Could be a game changer here. I really think that this could be a sign of things to come, and he even just for him to put it out there and say, you know, come along with me to here or another HBCU. And so it's going to be interesting to see, you know, in future classes, whether they, you know, put those down there seriously and consider going that route.
Well, certainly it's, you know, probably they're going to see what Maker-Maker's, you know, time at Howard is like. But I do think this could be the start of a really, of a good trend, Now, on Hey Kentucky, in case you missed it, a review of recent headlines. Attorney General Daniel Cameron says a Boone County judge has granted a temporary restraining order against some of Governor Beshear's COVID-19 executive orders following a lawsuit from several businesses and then joined by Cameron. The order stops the statewide enforcement of orders as they apply to child care centers and automobile racetracks. Meanwhile, Kentucky's number of unemployment claims have hit the 1 million mark. That's after another 30,000 plus applications last week. And the State Board of Education has identified the 3 remaining candidates for the new commissioner. Dean Julian Vasquez Heelig, Jason Glass, and Felicia Cummings-Smith will be interviewed next week in Louisville with a decision expected mid to late July. Up next on Hey Kentucky, I'll go one-on-one with U.S. Congressman James Comer. The 1st District Republican will talk about his new role on an important committee in Washington, among other things. Stay with us.